stone tells a tale, my children! And EC Comics knows much about tombstones and rising from the grave, especially when they bring in some new delectable cemetery stories in Epitaphs from the Abyss. Our host for this particular abyssal anthology is the Grave Digger. I gotta say, love is Taylor, my children. We begin with Killer Speck. Dylan is a writer. A genius writer, his words, not mine. But his greatness is not appreciated as he stares at a blank page, unable to write his screenplay. Clearly the problem is all the mediocrity around him. They are stifling his creative genius. Especially his roommate, Steve, who makes tons of money as a software engineer, but has decided to try writing since it sounded fun. He asks Dylan to read his script. No doubt the most painful, awful thing put to page. And oh no, it's actually brilliant! Genius even! Dylan cannot allow such a mediocre man release something so perfect, so he gives some cutthroat notes in return and buries the competition in the backyard so he can send in the script for himself. Only trouble is that Steve might have something to say about that as he rises out of his shallow grave and returns the favor to Dylan. The screenplay does get sent out to several publishers, and you could certainly say that a piece of Dylan still made it into the work. Next up, we delve into the least depressing topic of our time, politics! It's Senator. Senator Smarts is a pro-choice Republican. A rarity to be sure, but she has been adamantly in favor of women's rights and even beat out a 35-year incumbent for her state. And that's why it's so odd to Marguerite de Palma, an independent reporter, that she suddenly cast a vote for stricter controls over women's bodies. She goes to try to interview her, but when Marguerite reminds her of her strong pro-abortion stances, she suddenly has a massive headache and is led away by two men. Marguerite follows her to a building with an elevator going down and a strange man inside. He represents the Constitutional Patriotic Committee and explains that conservatives must have conservative ideals. And if someone has their own ideals, well, the committee plucks it out. With brain surgery. Honestly, politicians getting lobotomies is one of the least surprising reveals ever. But let's see what happens next in Family Values. Scott Richards has been forced to make an impossible choice. Men with guns showed up at their house, tied up the rest of his family, and demanded he make that choice. Kill one member of the family in 5 minutes, or they all die. Scott at first chooses to kill himself, but can't bring himself to do it. His son then volunteers over the objection of his mother, but Scott is actually somewhat convinced. After all, his son does keep violating their curfew, and yet he still couldn't do it. Finally, his wife convinces him to shoot her, and this whole thing was streamed. The third family in a month where this happened to them, and those watching could place bets on the outcome, winning big. Like this man and his family. They're going to be rich! Well, maybe not all of them, since some men with guns are approaching his house. And finally, we end the comic with Us versus Us. It's confusing. A couple named Junior and Brandy have burned down a church and are hunted by the monstrous beings that were inside of it. Malformed and mutated, the creatures soon find the two, and we learn what happened to them. They're Vaxxers! Yes, the mutants took a vaccination, while the anti-vaxxers murdered some of them, screaming that they're not people anymore. The mutants, angry, say that they'll still jab them to save their lives, but Junior soon keels over, dying from the illness in the air. Brandy asks what will happen after they die, with the big-nosed mutants saying they'll go to heaven. But then reveal, no, they're just kidding. The mutants will eat them. So is this pro-vaccination, anti-vaccination? Just a bunch of weird stuff that happens? My children, get vaccinated. You will not turn into hideous abominations. It will just keep you alive. The perk of becoming a monster just isn't there yet, but maybe someday. Ah!